A lot of people think by winning big in the music industry, they have to get a record deal. We are currently in a day and age where the independent and DIY artist is a multi-billion-dollar industry. This guy is part of the reason that it's become a multi-billion-dollar industry, because he had went the independent route. There's a lot of people out there that want to be independent but don't know how to, and they have misconceptions, have been misled on what it takes to be independent. They think they need things they may not necessarily need. So we're going to talk about how you can start your own independent label, how you can be your own boss, own your own masters, and become the master of your own success. So we have Yo Gotti, who has done that very thing with his label CMG, from signing artists to becoming successful on his own, to putting out his own albums and building an empire of his own, CMG. What's up, man? So let's start off with this. I'm a young artist. I'm a young Yo Gotti. Yeah. You've learned a lot of lessons throughout your career, from way back when you started, when you said labels would call me and I hang up, right, to today. You've been through a lot, right? Yeah. So there's a lot of game that you have that we need these people to understand for you to share. So if I'm a Yo Gotti and I want to say, you know what, I don't want to sign to a major label. I want to own my own stuff. I want to have my own label. I want to sign other artists like Yo Gotti does. What would you say is the first thing to be mindful of when starting your own label?
I would say the first thing is understanding that, you know, it's a risk. You know, it's like, it's a gamble. Mm-hmm. You know, it's a gamble within yourself if you're the artist, or it's a gamble in other people's dreams. If you're spending your money on other people, you know what I'm saying? Right. So it's a risk, because everybody who do music don't win. Right. You gotta understand that. Mm-hmm. And I think it's a process of starting a label. If you're a musician, I guess, if you're a rapper, because I think every rapper want to come in the game and want to be independent and want to own their own label, but do you got the money to even pay for your own studio time?
Yeah. You
know what I mean? So I think you got to, you know, be realistic and identify with what's real versus what you want.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because you can want your own label and you can want to be independent, but can you be? Right. You have the resources to be. So I would say every artist should start off, first of all, focusing on just being a great artist. Mm-hmm. You know, and a great artist would navigate you, hopefully, to creating the label and creating the other avenues you need to be to build the right label independently.
So you mentioned risks. What are some risks that you, or what are some ways that you can mitigate some of those risks? What are the risks, and how can you avoid becoming trapped into those risks?
I mean, the risk is with everything, right? So I think it's just information. The more you study, the more you pay attention to what's happening out here, you know what to do, right? Like, say, today, if you had a $100,000 budget for promotion, how would you spend it? Mm-hmm. You want to go buy $100,000 worth of billboards, or you want to go buy $100,000 worth of some type of online promotion that leads people back to your video or back to your the DSPs, the stream,
digital marketing. Yeah,
like this is your choice with this 100,000. Just make an example,
right?
You know, and you know, if you had 5 different people here, they probably would all spend their 100,000 5 different ways,
right?
And which one is right and which one is wrong,
right?
So I think all of them is a risk. Each one of them 5 people will be taking a risk,
right?
Because it ain't a dedicated yes or no answer which one gonna work for each individual artist. You know what I'm saying?
So what about artists that are starting that don't have the $100,000 marketing budget? You know, you're in the hood, you're a young kid, or you know, you don't really have any money to invest in yourself, but you have talent. Everybody's telling you you're dope. How do I go about building my own CMG, or how do I become the next Yo Gotti? How do I get exposure to then get me to a point where I can then start having the leverage that you just mentioned?
Like I said, I think it starts with the music. I think you start focusing on your craft, making sure you can get the best beats you can get, going to the best studio you can go to, getting the right mix, the right master, so that you're getting the best quality of material out.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And you start with the music. I think the music is the foundation of it all.
Right.
Having the right music.
Right. Because a lot of artists were just throwing out mixtapes. And
Yeah.
then inevitably, even like yourself, a lot of people discovered you through mixtapes.
Yeah, we gave out free music, free mixtapes in the beginning. A lot of it, actually, for years, and because we were just trying to make sure people liked the music.
Right.
Like I'm saying, like you got to create that what word I'm looking for, that demand. You got to create that demand to where people looking for the music, waiting
Right.
on the music, excited about the music, want to come see you perform the music live. Like you have to figure out how to create that, and,
Right.
and if you ever can create that, I think it take you. Then you ready to work to go into different
Right.
avenues. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Do you recommend giving away music at this point? Because it was different with mixtapes. You had to
In
give away
today's
mixtapes in the
time-
streets. Now the internet, it's almost like the internet is the streets.
Yeah. In today's time, I don't know if I recommend giving away music because of it's the channels of how people consume the music, right?
Yeah.
Through Apple Music, Tidal, Spotify, YouTube, Amazon. It's a lot of different.
There's over 200
Yeah, it's a
DSPs.
lot of
Yeah.
them, right? But that's what people going to even discover music. So,
Right.
and you can't give it away on them platforms for free. So, I think just you need to be on all them DSPs for people to even discover the music in today's time. So,
Right.
so I would say I wouldn't give the music away free.
Right. So if I'm somebody that wants to start my own independent label, what are some of the things I need to have in place structurally if I want to start? You sign like a Block Boy JB or a Moneybag Yo, and you sign artists. I'm someone that's like, man, I got some bread. I want to sign some artists. I want to start a label. I want to create this movement. How would I start to become a Yo Gotti and build my own label?
I think you got to focus on your infrastructure. First of all, make sure you got the right legal people doing your paperwork, so that your company is a real standing company.
Right.
And when you start giving other artists paperwork, making sure that you got legal people looking over the paperwork so all the business is clean.
And we call that bulletproof
You know
business.
what I'm saying? Make sure it's clean on both sides for you and the artist.
Right.
That the paperwork clean.
And when you say that, you mean clearances,
Yeah, just
agreements.
and that everybody understand, what they doing. Like what I found in this business, it, happens so much. Nobody knows what they was doing until it's an issue.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
5 years later, 10 years later, oh, I didn't know I was doing it.
What's an example of that?
Shit, we see it every day.
Right.
We see it every day. Somebody
we do,
come out,
but
and,
they don't. So what's an
Nah,
example
they
of
see
that?
it too. You know what I'm saying?
But do they know?
Yeah, they see it. When I'm saying you see an artist come out saying, "Oh, this person, I was in this type of deal and I didn't know."
Oh, okay. I see what you're
You
saying.
know what I'm saying?
Right,
Like,
right.
well, that's when I say like, make sure your business is straight on both sides. Meaning
Right.
like you the label, the artist know, everybody understand what the deal is, how it breaks down.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
it's clean.
Yeah.
You know.
So that no one's saying, oh man, you only gave me 20 grand 15 years ago for this.
Yeah, whatever the
It's
amount
like,
is.
man, you know what you were signing? You should have got a lawyer. So that's ultimately what you're suggesting. Make sure you
Make
cover.
sure everybody got legal and everybody understand what's happening.
So you, as you were coming up, what was one of the biggest pitfalls as a label owner and as an artist and as a CEO yourself? What are some of the pitfalls or the obstacles that were in your way for you being able to build the empire that you ultimately built?
For me, it was just information. I figure I had to learn all my information like the hard way or the long way.
Right.
Like if I had the information faster, I
Right.
probably would have moved up faster.
Was it because the information wasn't available or you
Yeah.
didn't know to go look for
Yeah,
it?
the information wasn't really available in my city.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like you have certain, I call them music cities like Atlanta, New York,
Right.
LA. I think Memphis is a music city based on the sound of creating music.
Right.
But the information wasn't public.
Right.
Like when I used to go through Atlanta, like you just going through different studios, you knew who to work with. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
if you was starting off artist, you could get your records mixed and mastered by the same people, the biggest artists in Atlanta was
Right,
using.
right.
Because the information was out.
Yeah, you knew who was
You
hot.
knew who was,
Yeah.
like the information wasn't hidden, I feel,
Right.
in bigger cities. Or if you were from New York, you knew who the A&Rs was and who they worked for and what labels. if you was one of them type of artists that were just trying to give out a demo.
Right.
Like in Memphis, we didn't even know what an A&R was.
Right. Right.
You know, we didn't have none of that information.
Right. And today, unfortunately, there's still a lot of people that don't understand what the roles are of some of these people. They'll hear the titles and the names, and they'll say, oh, we need to do this, but you don't really understand what their role is or what their job is until you watch a course like this or read a book like this and listen to somebody like Gotti give you this information that you didn't have when you were coming up. So when you were at your label CMG and you started signing artists, how did you structure a deal with an artist? Well, not giving details, but are you, I guess the point I'm trying to get is a lot of people want to be, in their mind, a boss is like owning somebody, right? And kind of giving not the best deals to those artists.
Yeah, but I disagree with that.
I disagree too.
Yeah.
What is your stance on that?
My take on that is like business is partnerships.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you create partnerships with people, and it's 1,000 different ways to create a partnership.
Right.
You know, I think the word for everybody who just want to be a boss, I think is a false sense of insecurity.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Right.
I have this thing I always say, that everybody want to be the boss and you never been a soldier yet.
Right.
It mean like, you know, you walk into the studio the first time and I'm the boss.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I got a label and,
Right.
you know what I mean? It sounds good.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But put things in real business perspective and to reality, like you have to grow into these spaces.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You have to grow into these spaces, and I never felt it, you know, being from a person who do own their masters and been independent, like I never felt it less, I never felt less of anything doing business with anybody.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Or knowing there was higher people
Right.
above me in the business chain, so they was the boss.
Right. Right.
You know, I never felt no type of way. Like I understood it. Like I'm just doing my part. It's a team. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like LeBron don't win the championship alone.
Right.
It's 4 other people on the play on the court. You know what I'm saying? So I think people should really look into that too. Like
Right.
you know,
Not get emotional over it. Just realize
Yeah,
this
like,
is
just do
we're
your
just trying to
part.
make something great together.
do your part and win.
Right.
You
Right.
know what I'm saying?
So you had opportunities early on to be signed to major labels and go independent. What played a role in your decision of being the independent Gotti to, you know, doing a partnership with a major label? What are the pros and the cons?
I think it's pros and cons to both. You know, I had a lot of success working with major labels. I had a lot of success being independent. You know, I think it's just a preference of how you want to run your business.
Right.
Some people don't want to do all the work.
Right.
Some people do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I'm a workaholic.
Yeah,
you know?
do a lot of work.
Yeah, I'm a workaholic. I like to do a lot of work. I like to be involved. I like to know a lot of information.
Right.
You know, that's the type of person I am. You know, some people, they don't want to deal with the information. They don't want to look through, you know, 50 pages of just numbers and figure things out. It's not what they want to do.
Right.
You know, and so it's just a difference in knowing what you want to do versus what you don't want to do. Because again, people can say they want to do this, and then when they get the workload, you don't find it fun or interested in it.
And it
not what
prohibits you
wanna
from
do.
being what you really want to do, is being the artist.
Exactly.
Right. So a lot of things to take away from what Gotti just said. One, be great, be consistent. You know, obviously work hard. But there's another thing that's really important. If you want to be a boss and you want to have your own label and get to a level where you're in control of your IP, and that's owning your masters and your publishing. And that's something that Gotti has now been able to attain. So in the next video, we're going to talk about the importance of owning your masters.